Author's POV. The campus gym always smelled like sweat, rubber, and cheap cologne. It echoed with sneakers squeaking and shouts bouncing off the high ceiling. And somewhere in all that chaotic noise, there was Jeon Jungkook black jersey clinging to his shoulders, hair damp against his forehead, tattoos peeking from under the edge of his sleeve. He moved like the court belonged to him. Fast steps, sharp turns, the ball a blur in his hands every time he jumped for a shot. People on the bleachers held their breath like it was a ritual. Y/N sat halfway up the stands, notebook open on her lap, pen resting uselessly in the crease. She was supposed to be outlining an essay. Instead, she was watching him again. Her friends had stopped teasing her about it a long time ago. It was just a thing now. Quiet girl in the middle row, writing notes between plays, eyes always drifting back to number 7, the one who barely knew she existed. Y/N, your pages are blank, Myra said, leaning over. Essay going well? Very, Y/N muttered, forcing herself to look down. She scribbled a line that didn't make sense, just to pretend. I'm absorbing knowledge through air. A loud cheer erupted as Jungkook sunk another three-pointer. Wow, Myra said, air's very talented. Y/N bit back a smile, unwilling to admit how her chest tugged just watching him on the court. Jungkook barely glanced at the stands. He never waved, never showed off. He played like he didn't care who was watching. But he noticed Dot especially when she was there, even now, as his teammates slapped his back. He let his gaze slide once, just once, to the middle row. Her head was bent over her notebook, hair falling forward, bottom lip caught between her teeth. He swallowed, looked away, pretended it didn't matter. A/N. POV shift. Quiet girls crush versus aloof stars. I don't care, mask Y/N POV. I told myself I just liked the atmosphere, the noise, the energy. The way the gym felt alive when the team played. Not him. Definitely not Jungkook, with his stupid perfect shots, and stupid broad shoulders, and stupid habit of never looking where I wanted him to. And the lying begins, Myra whispered. I did not say anything, I hissed. You didn't have to, she said. Your eyes did, again. I groaned, dropping my head into my hands. He does not know my name. He literally shares a class with you, she argued. He borrowed your pen once. That's not knowing my name, I said. That's knowing my stationery. Mira sighed dramatically. If you're going to suffer in silence, at least let me enjoy it. The coach blew the whistle. Practice wrapped up. Players scattered to grab towels and water. People started filing out, chattering about dinner and assignments. I took my time packing my bag. No rush, no reason to eat past each other in the hallway. He'd walk with his teammates, laughing at something dumb. I'd press myself to the side, pretending to be invisible. He'd walk by without looking at me. That's how it always went, except today. As I zipped my bag, a shadow fell over my notebook. I looked up. Jungkook stood at the end of my row, mask hanging off one ear, hair damp and messy, jersey clinging to his chest. Up close, he was somehow worse, jawline sharp, eyes dark and unreadable. Hey, he said, my brain short-circuited. Hi, I managed. He scratched the back of his neck, gaze sliding briefly to my math notebook. You dropped this last week. He held out a small, familiar object, my pen the same one he'd taken just for a second. And then never given back, oh, I said. You kept it. You left before I could return it, he said. Relax, I'm not starting a pen collection or something. Heat crept into my cheeks. I didn't think. He watched me fumble, something almost amused flickering in his eyes before he smoothed it over. Anyway, Jungkook said, gaze drifting away like this was all nothing. Thanks. For the pen, I blurted. For letting me borrow it, he said. For the quiz. I didn't have one. Someone called his name from the court. He stepped back. Then he paused, his eyes flicked past me to the guy who'd just come up the bleachers, waving at Myra and plopping down in the row behind us. Jihonu transfer. Easy smile. Friendly eyes. Y/N. Jiho grinned. You stayed the whole practice just to support me, huh? I blinked. You play, he snorted. Very badly. I'm water boy for now. Same spirit. Mira laughed. I did too. Jiho said something else. Some dumb joke about being the team's hydration savior. And we both cracked up. Our laughter echoed in the emptying gym out of the corner of my eye. I saw Jungkook's jaw tighten. His hand flexed around my pen. He shoved it into his pocket and walked away without another word. A/N. He says nothing, but her laugh with someone else starts to echo in all the wrong places. Authors Pav. For the next few days, the campus felt off balance. Y/N noticed it in small ways first. Jungkook always sat at the back right of their shared lecture, earbuds in until the very last second, eyes half-lidded, like he'd rather be anywhere else. Usually, she sat near the middle. Lately, she'd been a row or two behind him, close enough to see the back of his neck, far enough to pretend it was accidental. This week, he changed seats. Front left. Now he was out of her line of sight completely. She caught glimpses as people shifted just the side of his face, the way his brow furrowed in concentration when the professor explained something complicated, but it wasn't the same at lunch. When their friend group crossed paths in the courtyard, he'd nod, say hi to everyone at once, then drift off with his teammates before anyone could pull him into conversation. He wasn't rude, he just wasn't there, not where she could reach, which shouldn't have hurt as much as it did. Maybe he's just busy, Myra said, sipping her iced coffee as they sat under a tree. Basketball stuff. Midterms. Mysterious brooding schedule. He always has basketball stuff, Y/N said. He always has midterms. That never stopped him from bullying me about my right-handed handwriting before. True, Myra conceded. Your handwriting is chaotic. It's artistic, Y/N argued weakly. It's a crime scene, Myra replied. But that's not the point. The point is, hey, a voice cut in Jiho black hoodie, messenger bag slung across his chest, hair falling into his eyes. He smiled. Got room for one more? He asked. Myra scooted immediately. Always. He sat between them, spreading out his notes. You guys understand anything from last lecture? Because I swear the professor started speaking in tongues. I laughed, without meaning to. It bubbled up easily, the way it did around him. He was funny. He was kind. He didn't make her feel like she was reaching across a glass wall. Every time she tried to talk. Here, she said, pulling her notebook closer. I can explain. As she leaned in, their shoulders brushed, a small spark traveled down her arm. Nice, simple, safe, a few meters away. Under the shade of another tree, Jungkook tossed a basketball lazily from hand to hand as he listened to his teammate talk about some tournament stats. He wasn't really listening, because over the drone of campus noise, he heard it, her laugh, that soft, almost quiet sound. She tried to hide behind her hand. He glanced over, saw her leaning in toward Jiho, their heads too close, eyes crinkled, the ball stilled in his hands. "Hey, you good?" his teammate asked. "You zoned out." "I'm fine," Jungkook muttered. He wasn't a /N. POV shift. Jungkook's internal conflict turns up. Jungkook Pav. This was dumb. He knew it. He'd made his choice months ago. Don't get involved. Don't get attached. Keep things easy, light. Forgettable crushes faded. Responsibilities didn't. Basketball, grades, future. That was the path. Feelings mess. So when he noticed Y/N watching his games, he told himself it was coincidence. When he caught her staring in lectures, he stared at the window instead. When Myra teased her in the group chat with his name and a star emoji, he muted notifications. Simple. Controlled safe. Then she'd smiled at him that first time, all shy and startled at once, when he'd borrowed her pen and something stupid had sparked in his chest. He'd crushed it, or tried to now. Watching her laugh at something Jiho said, that feeling came roaring back, ugly and hot, like jealousy had claws. He forced his gaze away. "You gonna be at the scrimmage Saturday?" his friend asked. Jungkook said automatically, "Cool. I told some of the lit class girls they could come too. They like watching you play." He shrugged. "Whatever. You're so cold, man," his friend laughed. "They're literally forming fan clubs, and you're like, eh?" He smirked faintly. "They'll live." His friend elbowed him. "Anyone you actually like, or are you going to marry the ball?" An image flashed in his mind. Y/N in the bleachers, cheeks pink, eyes wide. Whenever he made a shot, he swallowed. "No one," he lied. His friend followed his line of sight anyway, to where Y/N's hand brushed Jiho's, to where Jiho leaned in closer, whispering something that made her burst out laughing again. "Ah," his friend said quietly. "Got it." "Got what?" Jungkook snapped. "Nothing," his friend replied. "Just, you might want to look in a mirror next time you say you don't care." Jungkook clenched his jaw. "I don't," he said. His friend gave him a look that said he didn't believe a word. "Sure," he murmured. "Then you won't mind if Jiho shoots his shot." The image of Jiho shooting his shot hit Jungkook in a place no foul ever had he tossed the ball a little too hard. It smacked the trunk of the tree, bouncing back. "Whatever," he muttered. But later that night, lying in bed, he stared at the ceiling, replaying the sound of her laugh, and the way it hadn't been for him. A/N, a group project, a shared library table, and one joke that finally cracks his cool author's Pav. Midterms brought with them the one thing everyone dreaded more than exams. Group projects. Y/N stared at the assignment sheet in disbelief. "Of course," she muttered. "Of course this would happen." Mira leaned over. "What? Did they assign you a 50-page essay?" "Worse," Y/N said. 3-person media project. Assigned groups. She pointed at the list. Group 4, Jeon Jungkook Y/NL/ and Jiho Kim. Myra choked. "The math is mathing," she whispered. The fanfic is writing itself. Please shut up, Y/N begged, burying her face in her hands across the room. Jiho looked up from his copy, catching her eye. He grinned, holding up 4 fingers. Group 4. She waved weakly. Jungkook didn't react, but his knuckles were white where he gripped his paper. They met later that day at the library, a long table in the corner. Laptops open. Notes spread. Jiho arrived first. "Hey," he said, dropping into the chair opposite her. "Guess we're fate's experiment." "Let's hope we don't blow up the lab," she replied. He laughed. It was easy. Comfortable. 5 minutes later. Jungkook showed up, black hoodie, cap low over his eyes, hands buried in his pockets. He didn't sit across from her. He sat beside her, so close she could smell the faint hint of his detergent and something warm and clean underneath. "Yo," Jiho said, "we were just trying to divide roles. I can handle slide design and visuals. I'll do research," Y/N said quickly. They both looked at Jungkook. He shrugged. "I'll present," Jiho grinned. "Of course, the face of the group. For once, try using your brain, man," Jungkook shot back. But there was no real bite. They worked in stretches. Jiho cracked jokes. Y/N laughed. Jungkook's pen tapped louder every time. When Jiho mispronounced an English phrase and turned it into something unintentionally suggestive, Y/N snorted so hard she almost spit out her water. "That's not what that means," she managed between giggles. "What does it mean then?" Jiho asked. Eyes wide, she tried to explain, still laughing. He started laughing too. They leaned over the laptop, shoulders bumping behind them. Jungkook's pen snapped in half a /N. POV shift. Jungkook's jealousy hits a boiling point. Jungkook Pav. He shouldn't be this annoyed. They were just laughing at a mispronounced phrase. Stupid joke, totally normal group dynamic, except nothing about the way she leaned into Jiho felt normal to him. He stared at the broken pen in his fingers. Ink smeared on his thumb grate. "Hey, you okay?" Y/N asked, turning toward him. "You look, what?" he said flatly. "Like I'm trying to survive the world's worst comedy show." Her smile faded. Jiho raised a brow. "Relax, man. We're just messing around." "Yeah," Jungkook said. "I noticed. Hard not to, with all the noise." A weird silence fell over the table. Y/N shifted in her chair. "We can be quieter if it's bothering you." "It's not the volume," he muttered. "Then what is it?" she asked carefully. He didn't answer, because the real answer was him. Watching Jiho lean in too close him, watching her tilt her head to hear better, mouth soft and open from laughter him, watching the subtle brush of their shoulders over and over like some sick loop. He forced his eyes back to his laptop, typed nothing coherent for 5 minutes. Then he heard it. "Jiho, we make a good team, huh?" Y/N. "Yeah," she laughed. "We actually do." Jungkook's jaw locked. The chair scraped back before he realized he was standing. Both of them looked up. "Bathroom," he muttered. He walked away too fast, hands shoved into his pockets, hoodie suddenly too hot. In the dim silence of the hallway outside, he leaned against the wall and exhaled. This was pathetic. He was acting like some drama lead whose only personality trait was jealousy. He didn't want to be that guy. He'd seen too many of them. But the thought of Y/N going for coffee with Jiho after this, of her saving a seat for him at games, instead of quietly sitting in the middle row alone. It felt like someone was prying his ribs apart. His phone buzzed. Myra. Heard you're in group 4 with my girl. And Jiho eyes Mira. Don't be mean to her, Myra. Also stop pretending you don't care. It's embarrassing. He stared at the screen. His reflection stared back. What the hell am I doing? He muttered when he returned to the table. Jiho was leaning over Y/NS laptop, pointing at something. They both straightened when he appeared. You good? Y/N asked. Fine, Jungkook said. We should wrap this up. Almost done, Jiho replied. Y/N just has to format the citations. Then we're free. We could go get something to eat after as a group. My treat for putting up with my pronunciation. Y/N smiled. That sounds... No, Jungkook said. Both of them froze. He sat down, eyes dark. She has another class after this, he lied smoothly, and I've got practice. Y/N frowned. I don't. He kicked her foot under the table hard. She shot him. A glare then caught the look in his eyes, jealousy naked. Unfiltered, her stomach flipped. Right, she said slowly. My class, Jiho blinked. Oh, I didn't mean to overbook you, my bad. It's fine, she said. Rain check, he smiled. Yeah, definitely. Jungkook's hands tightened into fists under the table. A/N. She calls him out on his behavior, and he finally snaps in the worst and best way. Authors POV. They packed up in tense silence. Jiho left first, waving. I'll see you guys in class, he said. Great work today. Y/N smiled. You too. Jungkook didn't reply when the library doors closed behind Jiho. She turned on Jungkook. What was that? She demanded. He shoved his hands in his pockets. What was what? Don't do that, she said. Don't stand there and act like you didn't just hijack my evening plans. You didn't have any plans until he made them for you, he said. So what? She snapped. I'm not allowed to accept. He stared at her. If you want me to be honest, Jungkook said slowly. No, I don't want you to go. Her heartbeat stuttered. For the project, she asked. Or at all, his jaw clenched. She laughed. But there was no humor in it. You can't keep doing this. Pretending I'm just some annoying classmate you tolerate until someone else gets close. And then suddenly, you're like this. Like what? Like this, she said, stepping closer, finger jabbing his chest. Jealous, weird, controlling. She's busy and she has plans. And no, she can't go. Who exactly do you think you are to me, Jungkook? His nostrils flared. Because as far as I know, she continued, voice trembling. You're the guy who ignores me in hallways, the guy who pretends not to hear when I say hi, unless other people are around, the guy who borrows my pens and then pretends I'm a stranger. He swallowed hard. Y/N. So, unless you magically became my boyfriend while I was asleep, she said, tears pricking her eyes now. You don't get to be jealous. The word hung between them. Jealous. His fingers twitched. His chest felt too tight. Not. Don't lie to me, Jungkook, she said, the first tear slipping free. You don't get to act like I'm invisible until someone else makes me laugh, and then suddenly act like I'm your personal problem to manage. He stared at the tear sliding down her cheek. Something snapped. He stepped forward. She stepped back. Her shoulder hit the bookshelves. He planted one hand beside her head, caging her in without touching anywhere else. His voice, when it came, was low and rough. You really don't see it, do you? A/N. POV shift. Explosive jealousy and confession brewing Jungkook POV. She looked so small against the shelf-eyes bright jaw set chest, rising too fast. He wanted to wipe her tears away and shake her at the same time. I ignore you, he said, because every time I look at you for too long, I forget there are other people in the room. Her breath caught. I pretend not to hear you, he continued, words spilling out now, because if I let myself react every time you say my name, everyone's going to know what it does to me. Her lips parted. And I stop you from going with guys like Jiho, he said, voice dropping even lower, because the idea of you laughing at someone else's jokes the way you laugh at mine makes me want to put my fist through a wall. Her heartbeat slammed against her ribs. You never joke, she whispered. He blinked. What? You never joke with me, she said. You're always cool and quiet and distant. You never give me anything to hold on to, he exhaled, realizing. Because if I started, he said hoarsely, I wouldn't stop. His hand slid down from the shelf to hover near her waist, not quite touching. Do you know, he murmured, what it feels like to be halfway through practice and suddenly realize you're looking for one face in the stands, or to walk into class and actually hope, that the only free seat is next to you. Her eyes shone. And then you laugh, Jungkook said, looking away, at something someone else says. And I know I have no right. I know you can like whoever you want. But it feels like someone is twisting a knife every time it isn't me. The words were ugly Truebear. He forced himself to meet her gaze again. Call it whatever you want, he said. Jealousy, obsession, stupidity, but don't call it not caring. Her voice came out small. Then what is it? His throat worked. His hand finally landed on her waist, fingers curling into the fabric of her shirt. It's me being in love with you, Jungkook said, and being too much of a coward to admit it until another guy made you laugh. A/N. She makes him say it clearly and decides whether his jealousy is worth trusting Y/and POV. The library faded out. It was just the sound of my pulse in my ears and his hand, warm at my waist, and the words hanging in the air like impossible things. In love, Jeon Jungkook. In love. With me, I whispered, just to make sure my brain hadn't misheard. His thumb pressed into my waist like he needed the anchor. With you, he said. Stupid, right? My laugh came out half-sob. A little. Considering you've spent months pretending I'm a lamppost. A corner of his mouth lifted. You're much prettier than a lamppost. I rolled my eyes, even as they filled again. That's not a high bar, Jungkook. I know, he said. I'm bad at this. I thought ignoring it would make it go away. And, I asked. He huffed a humorless laugh. And then Jiho made you laugh, and I nearly had a stroke. I shouldn't have, but I laughed. It bubbled up despite the tears. His shoulders eased minutely. That sound, he murmured, was supposed to be mine first. A warmth spread through my chest, softening the sharp edges of my anger. You can't own my laughter, I said gently. I know, he replied, but I can want you to share it with me first, before anyone else. My heart squeezed. What are you actually asking for? I said. Because if this is just about you winning some competition in your head, it's not. He cut in quickly. I don't care about beating him. I care about not losing you. Before I even had you. He shifted, bringing his other hand up to cup my jaw, thumb brushing away a tear I hadn't realized had fallen. "I'm asking," Jungkook said, "for a chance to try this for real. No more pretending I don't care. No more acting like we're strangers in public. No more hiding behind other people until jealousy blows everything up." His eyes were so open it hurt. "So," he continued, voice soft, "I'm going to say this once properly, and then you can decide." He took a breath. "I like you," he said, "a lot. I think about you when I'm supposed to be thinking about plays and exams. I look for you in every room. I get stupidly happy when you sit near me. I get stupidly angry when you don't, and when someone else makes you laugh. It feels like they're stealing something that belongs to us." He paused. "I don't want to be your almost," Jungkook whispered, "or your what if. I want to be the one you choose, the one you wait for in the stands, the one who gets your first smile, not your leftover ones." My chest felt too tight, too full. "Why now?" I asked softly. "Why say it now and not before?" He swallowed. "Because you were right," he said. "I thought maybe you'd get over it. Get over me, that you deserved someone uncomplicated. But when I saw you actually start to move forward, I realized I wasn't okay with that." He let out a breath. "And I figured," he said, "if I was going to lose you, I wanted it to be after you at least knew the truth." The fear in his eyes, the real, gut-deep fear, hit me harder than anything he'd said. "I never wanted anyone else in the first place," I admitted. "I just got tired of feeling like an idiot for wanting you." He flinched. "I'm sorry," he said, "for making you feel that way. I honestly didn't realize how bad I was until you said it out loud." His thumb still moved in slow, soothing circles at my waist dot. It calmed me, grounded me, burned me. "I don't want someone who only wants me when they're threatened," I said quietly. "I want someone who wants me on boring Tuesdays too." He smiled, soft and sure. "I'll be there on Tuesdays," he said, "and Mondays, and every miserable group project day in between, threatened or not." I studied his face. He looked like someone who'd spent a long time holding a door shut against a flood and had finally let it open. "Then don't go back," I said. "If I say yes, don't go back to pretending. Don't start ignoring me again to protect yourself. You don't get to shut me out after all this." His grip firmed. "I won't," he said. "I'd rather deal with how intense this feels than go back to that." Hope fluttered in my chest dot, scared dot, bright warm. "Okay," I whispered. "Then yes," his brows knit. "Yes," he repeated. "Yes, idiot," I said, half laughing, half crying. "Yes, I'll give you a chance. Yes, I'll be yours. Yes, I'll let you be jealous as long as you're actually here, instead of pretending you're not." Something like relief punched the air out of him. His forehead dropped to mine. He laughed, breathless. "I feel like I just won a championship game." "Relax," I said. "You just got a girlfriend." His eyes widened. "Say that again," he murmured. "Get cocky," I huffed. "Please," he said. I sighed. "Your girlfriend," I whispered. His fingers tightened. And then his mouth was on -/n. The next game, the next laugh, and a new rule. His jealousy won't be hidden anymore. Author's Pav. Saturday's scrimmage felt different. The same gym, the same squeak of shoes, the same whistle blows. But this time, when Y/N climbed the bleachers, she didn't sit in the middle. She sat near the front where he'd see her. where he was already looking. Jungkook spotted her the moment he stepped onto the court-oversized hoodie, his stolen after their library truce, hanging off her shoulders, hair tucked into the hood, hands wrapped around a bottle of water. She caught his eye, smiled small. Private, he felt his heart slam harder than his warm-up jog ever could. "Dude, why are you grinning like that?" one of his teammates whispered. "You look scary happy." "Shut up." Jungkook muttered. He knew exactly where she was every second the game started. He played well, sharp, focused. But there was an extra edge now, a kind of quiet pride in every move. Because when he sank a three-pointer, she clapped for him. Because when he missed, she winced like it mattered to her too. At halftime, he grabbed his water and towel, heading straight for the bleachers, straight for her. Jiho was already there, of course. He stood by the railing, chatting with Y/N and Myra, gesturing animatedly at something on his phone. Y/N laughed at whatever he said, shoulders shaking. Jungkook felt the familiar twist in his chest. Only this time, he didn't push it down. He walked up to them. No hesitation. "Hey," Jiho said, grinning. "Nice plays, man." "Thanks," Jungkook said shortly. His eyes never left Y/N. She smiled at him, eyes soft. "You're killing it." Warmth spread under his ribcage. Jiho, oblivious, nudged her lightly with his arm as he showed her another meme. Her laugh bubbled out. Bright, the jealousy snapped back, sharp. But instead of walking away, instead of shoving it down and turning it into cold silence later, Jungkook moved. He stepped between them, gently, but with no room for misunderstanding. His hand slid around Y/N's waist, fingers splaying possessively over the fabric of his hoodie. He tugged her closer to his side. She stumbled a little, landing against his chest. Her eyes widened. His thumb stroked her hip. One slow, sure. Jiho blinked. "Oh yeah," Jungkook said, meeting his eyes, calm but firm. "Oh," Y/N elbowed him lightly. "Subtle," he smirked. "Didn't feel like being subtle today." Jiho laughed, not offended. "I was wondering when you were going to stop glaring at me from across the room and actually do something." "I wasn't glaring," Jungkook muttered. Myra snorted. "You were absolutely glaring." Y/N shook her head, cheeks warm. After a moment, Jiho lifted his hands in surrender. "She's all yours, man," he said good-naturedly. Not that she wasn't already. Jungkook's grip tightened just a fraction at those words. He looked down at Y/N. "You are right," he murmured, voice low enough for just her. She rolled her eyes, but her smile was soft. "Yes, Jungkook," she said, "I'm yours." His jaw relaxed. He leaned down, pressing a quick kiss to her temple. Not caring who saw, a few people in the stands started whispering. Someone, Wolf, whistled. He didn't look away. On the second half, he played even better, because when he turned after a shot, she was there. His no more pretending later, when the game ended and the gym began to empty. They lingered by the exit. Y/N tugged at the hem of his hoodie sleeve. "So," she said, "still planning to pretend you don't care if someone else makes me laugh?" He huffed. "Never again," Jungkook said. "If someone else makes you laugh, I'm just going to make you laugh harder. And if someone else touches me," she teased. The look in his eyes turned serious, dangerous, soft. "If you let them," he said quietly, "I'll respect it." Her heart squeezed, but he added, leaning in until his breath brushed her lips. First, I'll remind you that my hands know you better. She flushed, swatting his chest. You're getting cocky, Jeon Jungkook. Your fault, he said easily, looping an arm around her shoulders as they walked out into the cool evening air. You made me like this. She laughed. He smiled at the sound this time. He didn't look away, didn't hide, didn't pretend. It didn't matter. He just listened, let it soak in, and tightened his hold on her, as if telling the world, yes, he was jealous. Yes, he was possessive. Yes, he cared out loud. No more act, no more almost, just her and him /n. He pretended not to care until someone else made her laugh. But once he chose her out loud, jealousy stopped being his weakness and became the way he loved her loudest.